Welcome to Dogs Info.
Over their blind trust to anyone who happens to fill their food bowl. They reserve their most sophisticated, deeply psychological evaluations strictly for the one specific human they value above all others. If your furry companion initiates even a single one of these quiet under-the-radar assessments, you have successfully entered their most exclusive inner circle. Today we are going to expose exactly what these covert examinations look like in your everyday life. We will decode their secret language, starting with a remarkably subtle evaluation that takes place in complete silence from all the way across your living room. Let us uncover the truth about how your dog is secretly testing you. Number 1. The soft gaze of emotional safety. Imagine this very common evening scenario. Your dog is sitting a few feet away from you, perhaps completely sprawled out on their favorite orthopedic bed or resting quietly on the rug in the center of the living room. You are completely absorbed in your own world, busy typing away on your laptop or deeply engrossed in a television show. Then, completely unprompted, they look up at you. However, they are not just staring blankly in your general direction. They are offering you a highly specific, deeply relaxed, heavy-lit gaze. You will notice that their eyes physically soften into gentle almond shapes. The muscles across their brow become completely smooth and free of tension, and they might even offer you a deliberately slow, rhythmic blink. This beautiful phenomenon is known as the soft gaze of emotional safety, and it serves as a massive foundational pillar of healthy canine culture. Many behavioral experts refer to this specific look as the oxytocin gaze simply because it carries as much profound emotional weight and chemical bonding power as a warm physical human hug. But you must make no mistake. This quiet, beautiful moment is actually a highly calculated psychological test. Your dog is actively asking if you are emotionally gentle enough to handle their sheer vulnerability. In the fascinating field of clinical behavioral medicine, researchers clearly note that a domestic dog choosing to lock eyes with a human is from a biological standpoint entirely unnatural. If you look at the wild animal kingdom and the ancient ancestors of our modern pets, prolonged direct eye contact is always interpreted as a glaring sign of a direct challenge. It is an aggressive dominant threat or the intense hyper-focused stare of a dangerous predator actively hunting its prey. When you take a moment to consider that your dog's ancient biology views staring as a direct precursor to violence, their conscious choice to soften that vigilant gaze and look deeply into your eyes becomes an incredibly profound moment of absolute surrender. It means they feel so remarkably safe in your physical presence that they can voluntarily pause their natural environmental vigilance. They are actively overriding millions of years of deeply ingrained evolutionary survival instincts for the sole purpose of connecting with you. The reason this suddenly transforms into a pass or fail test is entirely based on how you impulsively choose to react in that exact millisecond. If you play a wonderful game of emotional volley by softening your own facial expressions, blinking slowly in return, and perhaps offering a gentle, loving smile, your dog's brain quickly registers a victory. They learn that you are not just willing to match their emotional softness, but that you are highly capable of doing so in a way that feels safe. It is an immediate passing of the test. Conversely, if you stare back at them with wide, intense eyes or maintain a stiff, unblinking posture like you are trying to win a high-stakes staring contest, that is a massive failure without even realizing what you are doing. You are accidentally conveying severe spatial tension and aggressive dominance in their native language. If you stare back hard without peppering in those crucial soft blinks, your dog will interpret your rigid posture as an uncomfortable assertion of power. They will quickly look away internally, filing you away in their mind as someone who is slightly unpredictable and emotionally rigid. Number 2. The proximity and pressure assessment. While eye contact is a stunning psychological test that safely happens from a distance, what exactly occurs when your dog decides to physically close that gap? The second test is entirely about invisible boundaries, and failing it is surprisingly easy to do if you are not paying close attention to their subtle signals. Our dogs will frequently invade our personal space, acting as if we are a massive planet and they are a tiny moon swept completely into our gravitational orbit. When the mood for deep affection strikes, some dogs will lean their entire heavy body weight directly against our legs with such overwhelming committed intensity that it actually feels like they are trying to physically fuse your two bodies into one shared creature. This is the famous dog lean, and it is undeniably adorable. However, as any experienced dog owner will quickly confirm, this is not always how they choose to operate. Sometimes, our furry companions are radiating an aloof, independent, and strictly solitary vibe. But quite frequently, they fall squarely into a mysterious, highly observant middle ground. They genuinely want to connect with you, but they desperately need to carefully gauge the environmental temperature of the room before they fully commit to physical contact. This hesitant approach is a highly calculated test designed specifically for you. They want to test exactly how you behave when they cautiously enter your personal space bubble, but do not yet actively engage with a nudge, a wet lick, or a heavy lean. They might casually stroll near your legs, stopping to sit at the absolute furthest edge of the couch cushion. They are not touching you. They are not begging to be petted. They are just silently, quietly orbiting your physical space. In this moment, they are deeply evaluating if you will react in a way that truly respects their ultimate control over the approach. It is the canine equivalent of walking into a highly crowded room, giving a friend a casual nod from across the floor, and carefully assessing their overall vibe before walking over for a handshake. When you study canine cognition and the complex invisible dynamics of the human-dog relationship, a fascinating pattern immediately emerges. Dogs will display a massive noticeable increase in affiliative behavior, which is simply the scientific way of describing prosocial loving actions when the human in question allows the dog to strictly dictate the timing, the pace, and the physical distance of that initial contact. Essentially, your dog is actively studying your character. They want to know if you are the type of person who will grab, pull, crowd, or impatiently interrupt their cautious processing time. If your dog moves near you and you casually let them dictate the very next step without forcing any physical interaction, congratulations are in order. You have officially passed the proximity test with flying colors. You have proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that you accept and deeply respect their bodily autonomy. But if you eagerly reach out to grab them a little too fast, or if you try to drag their body into a suffocating tight hug long before they are emotionally ready, sadly, this means you have failed the test. It is not because your dog dislikes your affection or doesn't love you. It is simply because you revealed a severe lack of emotional patience. In highly structured natural dog society, patience is vastly more than just a polite virtue. It is a vital, non-negotiable social currency and the absolute proof that you are a stable, grounded, and reliable leader. Dogs do not want you to desperately chase them down and force your affection upon them. They would much rather you act as a calm, unwavering lighthouse that is always radiating warm, safe light, allowing them to draw safely into the harbor whenever they naturally wish to approach. Number 3. The hallway obstacle test. Once you have proven that you can respect their personal space, your dog will eventually decide to test how much you respect their physical presence in the shared environment of your home. This leads us directly to a highly misunderstood behavioral exam. Picture this very common daily scenario. You are carrying a laundry basket down a narrow hallway, or you are walking briskly into the kitchen to grab a glass of water. Right in the exact center of your path, your dog is lying on the floor. They are not deeply asleep or unaware of your presence. Their head is up, their eyes are open, and they are actively watching you march directly toward them. They have deliberately chosen to position themselves in a high-tracheic bottleneck of your home. This is absolutely not a random choice of a resting spot. By placing their body in the center of a narrow pathway, your dog is initiating the hallway obstacle test. In the complex world of canine pack dynamics, the control and management of physical space is a massive indicator of respect and social hierarchy. When your dog lies in your path and watches you approach, they are carefully testing your style of leadership. Are you a benevolent, respectful guide, or are you a spatial bully who completely disregards their physical comfort? The human instinct, especially when we are rushing around our homes busy with chores, is to prioritize our own momentum. If you walk right up to your dog and aggressively nudge them out of the way with your foot, or if you impatiently step directly over their body without breaking your stride, you have tragically failed this test. Dog having a larger, heavier creature step directly over their vulnerable body is a highly dominant, immensely intimidating spatial invasion. It shows them that you view them merely as an annoying object in your way rather than a living, breathing partner. It creates a sudden spike of anxiety and clearly communicates that your physical movements are unpredictable and domineering. To beautifully pass this test, You simply need to acknowledge their presence with respect. As you approach, you can stop a few feet away and use a soft, friendly voice to cheerfully say, "Excuse me, buddy," giving them the opportunity to happily stand up and move out of your way on their own terms. Alternatively, if there is enough room, you can consciously choose to alter your path and respectfully walk around them by making a slight detour or asking them politely to move. You prove that you are a considerate, highly stable leader who protects their sense of safety within the home. You show them that they do not need to constantly sleep with one eye open, fearing they will be trampled by an impatient human. Number 4. The vocalization and tone evaluation. While dogs constantly test us using physical space, they also employ a highly sophisticated acoustic exam that is incredibly easy to completely misinterpret. From time to time, your dog will make a deliberate attempt to talk directly to you. Even the most notoriously introverted, naturally calm, and non-vocal dog will occasionally emerge from their quiet shell to communicate audibly. They might let out a high-pitched, pathetic little whine from the opposite end of the couch. If not a whine, maybe you will hear a subtle low grumble rumbling deep in the back of their throat. Or perhaps they decide to go the fully dramatic route, unleashing an incredibly long, heavy, vibrating sigh while heavily resting their chin on their paws, sounding exactly like a weary Victorian poet who has just been subjected to an unimaginable tragedy. Now, it is certainly true that there are a lot of basic everyday reasons why your dog might vocalize at you. They might just want a tasty treat, an evening walk, or a good scratch behind the ears. But sometimes, and vastly more often than you might actually realize, this specific vocalization is a highly targeted psychological test. This evaluation is essentially your dog's brilliant customized version of a classic call and response exercise. They are actively and carefully watching to see exactly how long it takes you to acknowledge their noise. But infinitely more importantly, they are rigorously judging exactly what specific emotional tone of voice you use when you finally do decide to react. Dogs are for all intents and purposes masterful acoustic psychologists. Canine cognition experts have clearly proven that dogs can actually distinguish the tiniest microscopic emotional nuances in the human voice with an almost terrifying level of precision. Your vocal tone tells your dog absolutely everything they need to know about your current internal mood, your baseline patience level, your overall emotional availability, and exactly how much you value their innocent attempt to communicate with you. If your dog lets out a dramatic sigh or a soft whine, and you naturally respond with a warm, gentle tone, saying something like, "What is wrong, buddy?" you have officially passed the test with flying colors. Even if you needed a second or two to look up from your glowing laptop screen, your warm tone successfully demonstrated emotional reliability and safety. But if you quickly snap at them, let out a harsh, irritated sigh of your own, or respond with sharp aggressive annoyance like, "What do you want now?" your dog will immediately lock that negative reaction away in their memory. They will accurately interpret your sharp tone as a glaring warning sign that your mood is currently highly volatile, unpredictable, and that you are absolutely not safe to approach in this moment. Constantly failing this test simply means your dog will begin to quietly rein in how often they try to talk to you. They will ultimately prefer to keep their feelings heavily guarded and to themselves rather than risk triggering your sudden irritation. Number 5. The stolen item bluff test. Our dogs also test our emotional regulation by manipulating the objects we value the most in our daily lives. If you fall into this next behavioral trap, you might be severely damaging their trust without even comprehending what just happened. Picture this scenario. You are relaxing in the living room and your dog proudly prances into the space. But instead of carrying their favorite chew toy, they have something that explicitly belongs to you. It might be a dirty sock from the laundry pile, one of your expensive house slippers, or even a piece of mail they snagged from the hallway table. They do not immediately run away to chew it up in secret. Instead, they stand right in your line of sight, holding the forbidden item firmly in their mouth, making direct, intense eye contact with you. They are deliberately making sure you see exactly what they have. The immediate overwhelming human instinct is to leap up from the chair, shout their name in a panic, and chase them around the coffee table to desperately pry the item out from between their jaws. If you do this, you have walked blindly right into the stolen item bluff test and you have failed it miserably. In the complex psychology of the animal kingdom, The management of high V-value resources is a matter of profound survival and social stability. When your dog deliberately parades a stolen item in front of you, it is very rarely about the item itself. It is a highly calculated bluff. They want to see exactly how you, as their assumed leader, handle a conflict over resources. Are you a calm, collected, and benevolent manager? Or do you instantly transform into a frantic, aggressive competitor the moment something is taken from you by chasing them and shouting? You turn the situation into a high-stakes, panicked game of keep away, proving that you lack emotional control. You are teaching them that the only way to get your undivided attention is to steal your belongings. And you are simultaneously showing them that you are a highly aggressive resource guarder. To beautifully pass this psychological bluff, you must entirely control your own emotions. Do not chase them and do not raise your voice. Stay calmly seated. Look at them and use a cheerful, inviting tone to call them over to you. Offer them a high V-value trade, such as a premium dog treat or their absolute favorite toy in exchange for the stolen sock. By calmly trading up rather than aggressively dominating them, you prove that you are an emotionally stable, trustworthy leader who negotiates conflicts with grace rather than brute force. Number 6. The silent check-in test. The final and perhaps most beautiful test of your bond happens when you leave the safe confines of your home and step out into the chaotic sensory-rich environment of the outside world. When you are out on a daily walk exploring a brand new hiking trail or just navigating the crowded sidewalk of your neighborhood, your dog's senses are entirely overwhelmed. There are thousands of new smells, loud passing cars, and unfamiliar people. Naturally, your dog is going to walk a few paces ahead of you to eagerly explore this massive influx of information. But if you watch them closely, you will notice something incredibly subtle happen. Without you ever pulling on the leash, making a sound, or calling their name, your dog will suddenly pause their forward momentum. They will slightly turn their head back over their shoulder and make direct, intentional eye contact with you for just a fleeting second before continuing on their way. This stunning behavior is known as the silent check-in, and it is the ultimate test of your situational awareness and pack cohesion. In a wild canine family unit, navigating a new potentially dangerous environment requires the entire group to be mentally synchronized. The lower-ranking members will constantly silently look back at the leader to gauge their reaction to the environment, essentially asking, "Are we still safe? Are we still moving together? Are you watching my back?" Your domestic dog is doing the exact same thing. They are voluntarily tethering their physical freedom entirely to your continued guidance. They are testing to see if you are actively co-piloting this journey or if they are entirely on their own. If you are staring mindlessly down at your smartphone, completely lost in a daydream or ignoring their subtle glance, you fail the test. When a dog looks back for guidance and finds an absent, distracted leader, they suddenly feel immensely vulnerable. They realize that they must take on the heavy burden of protecting themselves, which is exactly what leads to severe leash pulling, anxious barking, and leash reactivity. You force them to become the leader because you were not paying attention. But if you are actively present in the moment and you catch their silent check-in, you have the opportunity to pass the ultimate test. You do not need to give them a treat or stop walking. Simply meet their gaze, offer a warm, reassuring smile, give them a subtle nod, or say a soft, encouraging word like, "Good dog." By doing this, you instantly validate their communication. You confirm that the invisible emotional tether between the two of you is incredibly strong. You prove that you are right there with them, paying close attention and keeping them completely safe in a chaotic world. Passing these deeply psychological tests does not require you to hold a master's degree in animal behavior or clinical cognition. It simply requires a dedication to patient observation, a willingness to slow down your own human momentum, and a deep desire to truly speak their silent language. Our dogs spend their entire beautiful lives trying their absolute hardest to communicate with us. What is the name of the incredibly smart, deeply loving dog who is secretly testing you every single day at home? Drop their beautiful name in the comments below.
Thanks for watching and like and subscribe share please.